Hey guys, welcome back to Fowler's Free Time. And today we're going to be making one of my weeknight specials. We're going to be making Jamaican Curry Chicken. So we're going to be using curry powder today. And those of you who have worked with it know that curry stains just about everything. I'm going to be donning the new uniform for the channel. So, Fowler's Free Time, getting just a little bit more official.
Let's talk about your ingredients. You're going to need 3 or 4 scallions, a whole head of garlic, a medium onion, thyme, the fresher the better, a Scotch bonnet, or in our case we're going to use Scotch bonnet sauce, curry powder. I brought this one home from Jamaica. You can use a variety of curry powders like I'm doing here, or you can use your favorite. Don't forget the sherry or cooking wine. And to round out these ingredients, we also have salt and black pepper. Obviously, you're going to need chicken, keeping in mind that boneless chicken will cook quicker. And if you are going to be using boneless chicken, I recommend using chicken thighs as they are more flavorful than chicken breast. As I throw the thyme on top and the onions, you're probably thinking, wow, this looks like a hodgepodge. But in all seriousness, this is all going to get stewed together. So right now, it doesn't matter that it looks like all of the ingredients have been haphazardly thrown on top. We're going to mix everything. We're going to make sure that the curry coats everything and there's enough salt and pepper on all of the ingredients. And then, quite honestly, we're going to cover this and we're going to forget about it for the next couple hours. It'll turn out okay. You'll see.
Alright, so part of the reason why I said that this curry chicken makes an excellent weeknight meal is 2 reasons. One is that you can prep your chicken and it only takes a couple hours for this to absorb the flavor from the curry and all the other seasonings. And so if you're working from home, you can do this in the morning, stick it in the fridge and bring it out when it's time to cook dinner. The second reason is that this curry, just like any other stew that's cooked in a heavy pot, actually the flavors develop as it's been sitting. So even though it's cooked tonight, it's going to be even better tomorrow night. So I'll cook this on a Sunday night and I'll enjoy it for the next 2 nights. To do that, you're going to need a heavy pot. I've got this Le Creuset pot. I'm not entirely sure how many quarts this one is, but since I'm not back home and I don't have a big Dutch pot to cook this in, this will do perfectly. The next thing is that what wasn't in our ingredient flyover is we've got some potatoes. In Jamaica, we call these Irish potatoes, but here in the States, you've got Yukon Gold, you've got Idaho potatoes, any starchy potatoes. We're going to peel these, we're going to cube them, and we're going to toss them in the last 20 minutes. Also, this is going to be a little divisive. Not all Jamaicans do this, but I like a little coconut milk, just a toops. Hear me out, just a toops. And I mean, by toops, I mean maybe a 1/4 cup. And we're going to put that in close to the end, and that's really just because I'm using boneless chicken and I want to kind of enrich the flavors that I've got in this pot. So let's start cooking. Okay, I'm going to turn on the fire, add some oil. gonna add some of that curry powder to the oil. So back home we'd call this step burning the curry. Really what we're doing is we're seasoning our oil, and we're heating up the curry powder so that the aroma can bloom, and you know, our chicken is just going to be added on top of that. It doesn't need to be perfect, so let's do that in the pan. At this point, if you see that you need a little bit more curry powder, you can add it. Also, if you wanted to add a little bit more salt, might be a little early because you can't taste it yet, but if you feel like you didn't put enough seasoning in, now would be the time. So after a couple of minutes that it's been on medium-high heat, you're starting to see some of the edges of the chicken get a little bit opaque, so it's starting to cook down. And this is actually the time that you want to make any additional seasonings on top, like I'm adding some scallion, adding some more thyme, and I'm adding a small pepper from, I don't know if you can see that, that's from my little pepper tree. So, you know, we'll look at what's all. So, I'm adding those in, I'm going to close it down, and now I'm actually going to drop it to a simmer, and I'm going to leave this for the next 40 minutes. Okay, well, we've got a little bit of time because that needs to simmer down, and whatever you do, don't open the pot lid. You need that steam, you need that moisture to both cook and develop the curry, and also to create the sauce. Yes, we're going to be adding a little bit of coconut milk, but that's only going to be adding to the flavor and thickening it. It's not really to give it a significant amount of volume. We're not making a Thai curry here. But on the topic of coconut milk, since we're already talking about this blasphemous idea of adding coconut milk to Jamaican curry, if you're going to do this, make sure you get a coconut milk that does not have any added sugar, and make sure you shake the can, because if you've never cooked with coconut milk, then you may not know that the fats and the oils separate, and unless you shake up the can, you're going to get a very, very buttery seeming like top layer, and then what looks like water in the second layer. So just shake the can before you pour out you know, a quarter cup or so that you're going to be adding to your curry. Yeah. Okay, it's been enough time, so let's see what this looks like. Remember to use a glove or a dish towel because your pot is going to be quite hot. Alright, so let's see if I can give you a little close up there. Yeah, alright, we're looking good now. So I'm going to be add some of this coconut milk, and I'm going to stir it around. I'm actually going to fish out the pepper so I don't pop it. Everything else I'm okay if I just stir it around. And at this point you might be thinking that it's looking a little soupy, but don't worry, that is actually why we have the potatoes. The potatoes are going to be adding some starch to this, and they're also going to be thickening this up. So let's add the potatoes, and we're going to stir this up, and we're going to lock it back down for another 20 minutes for those potatoes to soften up. They're going to both absorb some of the flavor, and they're going to leach their starch into the gravy to thicken the gravy. Right? So cover that back up, and you're 20 minutes away from dinner. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Here is our curry chicken on top of our rice. And we've got a little bit of naan on the side. And you'll see we have some gravy, but it's not overly thick. And that may or may not be the hero shot. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Fowler's Free Time, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe for curry chicken. I encourage you to try it yourselves, and of course, as always, if you have suggestions, modifications, drop them in the comments below. And I almost never ask, but please subscribe. It helps. Until next time, enjoy. We are recording, right? Yeah. Oh, shit. Remember that can of coconut milk? Well, you're not going to use all of it. So do yourself a favor and find an old ice cream container and freeze it. You can use this the next time you're making rice and peas. That video is coming up. And, you know, I'm cheap. I don't like to waste anything. So just save what you haven't used because you can use it again later.